Phone's off, all good? You need a bit for Sundays, Dave? Mike? Yeah. We'll do a little bit at the end then.
Morning, you alright?
Make sure you put your hand up if you want to ask a question so we can do the mic, so make sure we get the Sundays done properly at the end, if that's alright.
Alright, Michael?
Yeah, you pal.
Go on then, Timmy lad.
So Chris, back to where it started this weekend. Bournemouth was the first game of the season, your first point of the season. How much was that late Billy Sharp goal a catalyst for the success that has followed?
Definitely, yeah. It was very, very important that for a newly promoted side to get the season up and running, points total, and obviously the first two games, the late winner, the late equaliser, felt like a winner. Late goals, as they always do. And obviously the result against Crystal Palace at home, and it was a great start for us. But yeah, obviously a lot of apprehension going into the first game of the season at Bournemouth, an excellent side, fabulously managed by Eddie and Jason Tyndall, and a lot of good players, and established Premier League club, and great achievement for them to do that season in, season out. So to get a result as we did, and as I said, a lot of apprehension going into it. No real experience from the playing point of view, and obviously from myself and the staff point of view. But it's a game of football. We were positive in our approach, and I believe we got our rewards for a very, very positive second half performance.
You've talked a lot about Bournemouth in the past and your admiration for what they've achieved and for the job that Eddie Howe's done. Are you surprised that he's not managed one of the elite clubs in this country, given his record?
Yeah, I do, because of you can only, do what you do, win football matches, and obviously realistic as well. What he's done with Bournemouth right the way through. I know the story very, very well. Going out the Football League and to be a Premier League club in the short period of time is an incredible achievement, and then to stay in the division with the resources that they've got, and obviously not one of the biggest of clubs in the Premier League, but to defy always, work with young players, create a team, and do it in the way he's done. I am, but. For me, an outstanding manager season in, season out, regardless of what's happening this year. I look at their performance and their results, and how can you get consistency into performance in results when your best players are continually injured and not available for selection. That happens. We are, fortunately for us, we've had a little bit of luck on our side in terms of injuries. With as I said, all our main actors, all our players have been fit for the majority of the campaign, which obviously gives you the flexibility and the opportunity of getting consistency and getting good performances. But certainly when your best players are continually being injured or are injured and not available, it becomes a bit of a struggle. But I don't need to tell Eddie that.
A week on from transfer deadline day, how would you assess the business that this club has done, and is this the best Sheffield United squad that you can ever remember?
I think that's for other people to comment on. I could comment on it, but I'm not going to. Let other people do that. We just keep continually trying to improve. And evolve as a group of players. The players that I've got here, improving on season by season, during seasons, and when the opportunity comes in the windows to improve the group, always try to improve it with the resources that you've got to or are made available, and that's what we've always tried to do. It's a very talented group. I'm absolutely delighted with the business that we did in January. Different market that we've shopped in, but a lot of work has gone into that. a lot of hours studying, travelling, watching, negotiating, and finally to get the 3 boys over the line, 2 on loan with the view to a permanent, and obviously Sander. I think it's been an outstanding window for us. We've had good windows in the past, and I think it is really important. And I've said all along that January was key. Even though we're going particularly well, it was key to improve and strengthen while you are going well. Not always when you're struggling for results, and we've certainly done that.
It was announced yesterday that the transfer window will be extended in the summer back to the start of the next month. Are you in favour of that?
Just consistency with other countries and in line with what other federations do. So it is what it is. I'm a believer in the 2 windows and not the right way through. I think it tests your recruitment, and it then when the window shuts, and the group of players that you've got to work with, you have to work with those players and get the best out of them through injuries, suspensions, and lack of form, loss of form, and obviously different oppositions that you're playing against.
It's been reported this week that Lionel Messi has got a clause in his contract that allows him to leave for free in the summer. Would you like to see him in the Premier League? You mentioned this has been a good window. It could be a great one, couldn't it, for Sheffield United if you could convince him to come here?
Dear me.
Would you like to see him in the Premier League, though?
I think the Premier League has always attracted the world-class players since its introduction, and it will continue to. It's going to take a big number to make that happen. I'm not sure I've got the courage to go and knock on the owners' doors and try and push that one through, but and I'm sure that I love my city, but it's a little bit cold out there today. But it always has attracted and always will do, and it's as I've said all along, being consistent with that. It's a brilliant division to be involved in. As I said, full respect for the EFL and the Championship which was great, but the Premier League is at another level, and I can see why now people want to stay in there. People want to be involved. Players want to play the football in the Premier League, and everybody wants to be part of it. And who's to say along the way that he might end up at Bramall Lane on a cold Tuesday night, and then we'll ask a few questions of him, but I'm sure he'll come up with the answers.
Thank you.
Cheers, Tim.
So Lionel Messi, yeah. Changing tack. David McGoldrick, is he okay?
He's been out on the grass this week. The good thing now, Andy, is, well, I've always had, but even more now with Richario involved. Luke Freeman really putting in strong performances Monday to Friday, and obviously, his performance against Millwall. I've got some real good options at the top of the pitch. The skipper coming back into contention. He always has been in contention, but obviously getting starts as well. Mousset introduction on Saturday was key and important to us, and I thought Ollie McBurney, especially late on, led the line superbly well. So as many as I can have as possible to choose, and then obviously the hard part comes with trying to pick the right team to get a result on Sunday.
And is everybody all right post Crystal Palace then? Everybody's
fit and raring to go, and as I've just said there, you do need a bounce of a ball at times, and you do need to stay clear of injuries. And I do think there is sometimes something behind that, the conditioning and the preparation. But at times there is a little bit of luck involved, and that's why I can sympathise with Eddie, because of Brooksy's not played all season. Callum Wilson's been out, Josh King's been out. All their players at various times have been out, so they've never been able to get into any sort of rhythm, any sort of consistency, any sort of flow, and they've had to dig results out, and most certainly they've dug a couple of results out in the last 2, which has obviously improved their position, and they'll come to Bramall Lane on Sunday and they've been to bigger and better places than us and got results, so they'll fancy the chance of getting a result on Sunday.
Just clarify something, will you? Is Retsos his loan move? Is that with a view to a permanent as well?
Yeah, both of them have got clauses inserted that there can be negotiations at the end of the season to make those deals permanent.
Bournemouth, then, as Tim alluded to, it does make you wonder about progression. So, being in the Premier League, how much more Premier League streetwise do you feel now you've played everybody, having met them on the first day?
Well, you sometimes run into teams, as I said, that are at full strength. Sometimes, they've got midweek games or Champions League games or Europa League games, and the timing benefits you and timing doesn't benefit you. It all depends when you run into them. I think you've just seen the Premier League, how closely contested it is, and on any given day anybody can get a result, apart from possibly against one stroke two clubs. So it's the most wide open outside the top two that it's been for a long time, and consistency is key. From an analysis point of view, of course, the work is always been done. I'm not one of those that the second part of the season teams will work you out. These are elite coaches and elite managers in this division that, regardless of you playing on the first day of the season or the last day of the season, will have done their own work and would have devised a plan, strengths and weaknesses to get a result, and we'll do the same against Bournemouth just as much as what I should imagine Eddie and Jason will do against us.
36 points won, new record signing, a couple of other lads through the door as well. Does this now, officially, I suppose, become a bit of a push for Europe?
It's a push for the next 3 points, and that is it. And all along, at the end of the season, where it gets us, I've said it last year, if it gets us enough points to gain promotion, that's incredible. If it isn't, we'll deal with that, and that's the way it's going to be. I'm not going to mug you off by saying that, of course, from a newly promoted side, 40 has always been a big number for everybody, and I should imagine when we do get there, we can plan, and I think, as I said, it would be disrespectful to you guys to say that are we likely to get those points? I believe we will do. Yeah, of course we will, because of the performances and the attitude of the players. But still, it will be after that. It is the next point, the next 3 points, and whoever we're playing against, and it has to be that way because supporters don't want to see you take the foot off the gas. They pay their money, hard-earned money, to come and watch your home and away, and they want to see fully committed performances, whatever competition you're in, because when you pull that shirt on, they expect, and I think and you understand my point of view. I expect every time they stick the Sheffield United shirt on, and whether it's now, whether it's 10 games to go or the last game to go, it'll be full tilt right to the end.
From afar, how and why do you think Bournemouth have managed to stay and constantly stay in the Premier League since they came up?
Good recruitment, fabulous recruitment, a plan, a structure, a way of playing, a drive and a determination from the coaches and the management, day in, day out. Good players, and all that adds up. Team as well, and good individuals in there. I think Eddie will be the first to say as well that they've spent wisely, and it's not as if they've not spent anything, but when they have done, they've spent really well. Callum Wilson and Josh King, two outstanding players. We know a lot about Brooksy. We know a lot about Aaron Ramsdale. They've signed young players as well to develop, to coach, and to improve. And they've done that right the way through. And as I said, I think if you look at their results and their league position over the last 3 or 4 years, it's been outstanding, and tipped, I should imagine, every year to struggle and defy the odds. And that has to be set by the manager and his view and his plan and his desire to go again for the next season.
Do you take some extra pride in the fact that here we have on show on Sunday lunchtime 2 English managers doing their thing?
Nothing to do with me already or myself last week or whatever it is between any managers. It's 2 honest teams going at it. They've picked up a couple of great results. You know, obviously the pressure was on when they got defeated by Watford. But, you know, I think yet again shows what they're about, that the white flag didn't come up, and 2 really good home results against Brighton and against Villa. And they've done it season in, season out. They would have had periods where, you know, they've lost consecutive games or 3 or 4 games and 5 games on the bounce. And we talked about this at the start of the season. Thankfully, we've managed to overcome that in a way, but it still can happen, and we have to be mindful of that. And the key is that you have to come out of it, and they've certainly come out of it with 2 really, really positive results and good performances, and that will have given them great heart coming into the game on Sunday.
Just finally from me, I realise the last 3 weeks have all been about transfers, but has anything moved on as regards the contracts that we've discussed before, Lundstrom and the other lads that you've been in discussions with?
I think you know, have to recognise that the main aim and target was to get the 3 boys in that we did, and Jack Robinson and Jack Rodwell as well, to strengthen us in January. Now the focus and the attention moves on to those and other bits and pieces that we need to do, looking ahead to the summer as well. One eye on that as well, so that's the planning that goes into that. Potential areas where we need to strengthen, players that we might lose, but most certainly the core that have done fantastically well for myself and the football club. I'm very, very keen to tie down and making sure that those boys are the heartbeat of the team and of the football club. We secure their services, and as I've always said, it is reward for the performances that they've put in consistently, and hopefully we'll have some good news in the upcoming weeks. But certainly all the focus now is to, of course, on to the next match, but from off-field issues and situations and scenarios, is that we get those boys tied in and rewarded and move on to the next piece of business that we're trying to do.
Thanks very much.
Just one from me, Chris. You go into the winter break after this. How welcome is that, and how do you propose to manage it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have liked to have carried on. I know there's been different views on it. The game has changed. I understand that, but it is the challenge to overcome for me. 9 months through, you know, different weather conditions, different situations, different problems, different hurdles that you have to overcome. So I know it was put in there, but the majority of clubs will be training. Some clubs might give some players some days off, but for me, I could have done without it. I think we should carry on straight through. Supporters are not going away on holiday, and they're the ones that keep this division going for me. So might be a little bit controversial in that, and might go against other opinion, but I would have no issues of my team going through. And as I said, the testing, 38 games Premier League season, through all different conditions and all different tests that you have to overcome.
What's the plan? You're going to Dubai, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, but we'll have to keep the boys. It's not a jolly up. You know, they will get rest and recovery, but they'll train as well. So, and then we're over there for a few days, and then we're back into preparation for the Brighton game.
Hi, Chris.
Morning.
with the extra players that you brought in January, does that suddenly raise everyone else's game 5-10% just to with competition for places and trying to impress?
There always has been real genuine competition, but certainly when the quality players that you bring in into the group, you always see a lift, and I've certainly seen that over the past week, and that can only be good for the football club. Obviously, good for the players that are coming in because they want to impress, first impressions, and the other boys as well. They understand now. We're not just seeing a season through. We're improving all the time, and we want to take the club forward, which I've always wanted and wished. And certainly when you bring quality players like we did, it certainly raises the tempo of everything and the standards of everybody involved with the squad.
And then is that an added benefit to obviously you bring in top quality players, but then everyone else gets that lift and tries to impress? And
it'll always happen because of the attitude of the players. None of the players will look at it and think, well, that's me done. It's an inclusive group. I've got 25-man squad now, and at any particular time or of my choice or decisions, any of those boys can play, and it has to be that way. Cheers.
Does anybody need anything before Sundays?
Chris, in terms of your loan signings that you made, are they up to speed and ready for selection at the
moment? Yeah, they are. We've been delighted with the shape of all three. They go through rigorous tests, the medicals. There's a physical test that they all do, and obviously the usual body fats and gym stuff. And they're in really good nick. All three of them are really good athletes. Obviously, Richario's not played much football since the end of the Chinese season, but he's had a mini pre-season. Panos has obviously been on the bench by Leverkusen, who've been in the Champions League, and obviously from Xander's point of view, even though it was quite funny when you looked at Xander's face on Saturday afternoon after about 20-25 minutes. I think he was quite shocked and taken aback of the speed and the tempo and the ferocious way the game was played, but he enjoyed it and he'll get up to speed as well. So all three are in contention, and all three are pushing to be involved on Sunday.
And we've obviously had a first look at Sander, but in terms of the other two, what will they bring to your squad?
Yeah, position specific. Panos plays right centre half, can play right wing back, and can play middle of the park as well. He's played middle of the park for his country as well, and obviously played in a two for Panathinaikos and Bayer Leverkusen. Richario, obvious pace and a stretch in the team which we wanted from January onwards, and he's looked very, very sharp. And Xander, his performance on Saturday, whether he plays one up or he plays as a sitting midfield player, so position specific, attitude, and generally really good kids, really, really nice lads that want to do well for himself and fitted in seamlessly into the group. I'm not surprised. The group's very welcoming. As I said, it's very inclusive. They're part of us now to the end of the season, and I think as well, when you saw the scenes on Saturday afternoon at the end, that's everybody pushing Xander forward, and even away from cameras, the scenes in the change room afterwards where it continued. It's a fabulous away win. It was a tough afternoon for us in difficult conditions, but it at times it always fills me with a great sense of pride, the way the group are, not just as players but just as genuine human beings, the way that they act and they go about the business.
And Panos and Richario both played for big clubs in Leverkusen and Ajax, which obviously shows their ability, but do you think, like a lot of the players they've signed, they've got a little bit to prove because for one reason or another, injuries or whatever, they haven't really, those moves probably didn't pan out quite.
There's always something in their history that they're trying to. And even if there isn't, the best players are the ones that keep on playing and keep on driving forward and striving for the next contract or the next silverware or the next win, next result. And I think that's in your makeup. They're not. The the young boys, and they've done well so far in their careers, but they're looking now, the Premier League and Sheffield United, they want to be a success, and that only bodes well for us as a club. Just
Chris, just come back to the subject of Europe. Is it sort of like a double-edged sword in that, yes, it's great if you get there, but there is that concern, like we've seen with other teams like Burnley and stuff, that it can be very hard to suddenly have to adapt to playing European football and challenging Premier League next season, trying to stay up.
Not thought about it, Dave. Honestly, straight up, not even entering my head about whatever happens. It's just grinding out result and going week in, week out, day in, day out on the training ground, keeping the boys' standards at the very highest level that we can, and them striving and driving forward. And listen, if we are in a position at the end of the season, then you deal with it as you deal with anything. We have got to get the maximum out of this season, and who knows what's round the corner. I'm fully respectful of the division, that you can lose 2, 3, 4, 5 games on the spin. And I'm driven and hungry for more success, as are the players, and that's the way we've always been, regardless of what division that we're in.
And just kids asked about the lads and the contract negotiations. You'd like to think folk would want to stay, Chris, because of what you're building here. This isn't just on one season; it's seasons behind and seasons to come. That people will, want us to continue the journey.
Oh, definitely. Of course. If I had any feeling that any of the players saw the future elsewhere, then I wouldn't want them to stay against the wishes. I'm always aware and mindful of the fact that there's a lot bigger clubs in this division than us, from a financial point of view, from a stature point of view, that I really can't stand in their way. But these boys as well, they've only been in the division for a year as well, so their thought process should be first and foremost to get in the side and stay in the side, not looking elsewhere about what might happen. A few of them have got international aspirations as well, in terms of John Egan and Ender coming up, and Flecky as well. So first and foremost, they've got to get in my side, and then they've got to stay in there. And as you see now, the competition for places is fierce, and their thought process should be: am I playing Saturday? Am I playing Sunday? Not what's round the corner. I'd like to think that would be the case.
Bit for Sundays.